What if a farm got more productive and the landlord still made less money? That's the strange logic here. Ricardo is saying that agricultural improvements can slash rent without necessarily throwing land out of cultivation. The trick is this: if you can grow the same amount of food on less land or with less capital, then the least productive part of the farm gets pushed out of the equation. Imagine turning over part of your fields to turnips. Now you can feed sheep and grow corn on the same land. Suddenly, the old pasture isn't needed the way it was before. Or imagine discovering a better manure that boosts output by 20%. You don't need to keep pouring money into the weakest part of the farm. And rent is really based on the gap between the best and worst returns. Say 4 equal investments on land give you 100, 90, 80, and 70 quarters of grain. The rent comes from those differences. But if an improvement raises all of them to 125, 115, 105, and 95, the rent can stay exactly the same. Why? Because the gap is unchanged. But here's the catch. If total output rises and demand doesn't rise with it, you won't need all that extra capital on the land. One of those weaker portions gets withdrawn. Then the worst part of the farm improves relative to the rest, and rent falls. So the big lesson is this: better farming can mean more food, but not necessarily more rent. In fact, it can lower rent by making the marginal, least productive land less important. And that's not a small point. Agricultural progress helps society grow while quietly squeezing the landlord.